Mzee, asante sana for joining us for another classic episode of the Weekend Edition. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori. Mzee, this week I confidently say with no fear of contradiction that Kenya is not a country. It's a movie. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if you looked deep enough upate Mzee si yuko movie ya Nigeria. It's a miracle how much drama we can keep up with. Just to give you a few highlights, imagine in just 1 week, in his latest, for example, in his latest publicized miracle, Prophet Kanyari has resurrected Omosh Kizangila's acting career. Hey, man, now from just a regular actor in Tidy High, critics now say that Omosh has graduated to an Oscar standard stuntman. The story here is Omosh went to Pastor Kanyari to set him free from demons holding him back. And that's how, for the second time, Kenyans got to witness the fall of Omosh. Now, Kenyans were quick to note how Omosh looked behind him as he fell and immediately politicized it. At this being an election year, Omosh had to check to see if the ground was hostile before his arrival. Manze, Kenyans there in their usual style of hate. Wakasema ati Omosh angekuwa rada hivyo na pesa zake angeanguka hivyo. Kwa hiyo, mara nyingine. Some non-believers have also questioned why Omosh fell when being prayed for. And after analysis, there's a section of people who believe that the Omosh falling has nothing to do with Pastor Kanyari's prayers. That if you watch the full video, Pastor Kanyari gave him some shopping and 7,000 shillings. Now, that explained hiyo kuanguka. Basically, Omosh alifanya ile kitu watu usema yeye ufanya akipata pesa. He goes down in spirits. Now, with all that, serikali imenyamaza tu. Now, moving on, in the same past week, Kenyans were treated to a very brazen shooting caught on camera in Roysambu, Mzee. And in no time, the DCI had already produced images of the suspect in the shooting. One would hope that Kenyans would be happy that our security agencies are on overdrive, but no. People are quick to point out that the person seen shooting the victim is slender, and the person the DCI claims to be the suspect is like 3 times his size. And then I thought, why are people acting like this is the first time a government agency is inflating figures? But by the way, come to think of it, from a hater's perspective, this is no different from what happened in the NYS. Kunonesha mtu hivyo in 3 days ni kama ile taweli ya 100,000. There is no way that guy acquired body ya mheshimiwa na 3 days. Hata kama ni in disguise. It usually takes 5 years in the August house for such transformation. To more weird news now, there's been a post going around that a noise-proof glass has been installed on the expressway to shield Parliament from vehicle noise. Following an uproar from Kenyans, the engineers have clarified that it was actually the other way around. The glass is to shield motorists from noise coming from Parliament. Umaipitia Uhuru Highway, Mzee, uko ndani ya mat, Mzee, inachuna. Alafu unasikia kuna kelele inatoka nje. Huyo sio Millie Odhiambo. Now, the political landscape has also had a fair share of their own drama following the announcement by Kalonzo Musyoka that he was quitting Azimio. His next move has been a major topic of discussion, but there's a section of Kenyans who still believe he is in Azimio. How? Na yeye hajaongea. And then we stumbled upon a tool that analysts are probably using.
Sini ule yako na shida na sadaka kanisani. Sini ule amekaranga Kalonzo mpaka saa hii Kalonzo wako nyumbani ameenda kuchunga ng'ombe.
Maze, unajua politics ya Kenya, not everything is as it seems. Hata word kama ng'ombe inaweza kuwa na maana tofauti.
Politically, my brother, when you see us following Baba like cows, we are fearing consequences like the one you are facing now.
Exactly. Hata jina ng'ombe inaweza kuwa na definitions mob, different meanings, so you have to be very careful. In the case of Kalonzo Musyoka, there is picture evidence that alikuwa anachunga ng'ombe za ukweli, like real cows, not cows. And that is one thing with the political season. In Kenya, everything can be twisted. Hii ndio ile season tutaona kila kitu. Before we introduce our guest for this episode, must check out our new segment. It's the season. Our custom panel to interpret politics as we see it. By the way, what if politicians were honest? This idea, but I have to confess, I was given by Jaymo. Jaymo aliniuliza, we have to talk politics. We can't avoid politics. What if we can approach politics from an honest perspective? Jaymo Ule Msee, tulikuwa naye hapa last week. He is a graduate of political science na economics, Mr. Good Vibes himself. Tuko na Moses Tisa, tunafanya panel ya Mayouthman. Moses Tisa is a former student leader wa MUSO, that's Moi University. Alafu tuko na Anita Soina. Anita Soina is one of the youngest people running for elective positions in these elections. How capital intensive is it for you to run for the CTIMP?
It's very expensive. Siwezi kudanganya. Sahi kuna mwingine amenitext mwesh chai. So I hadn't seen the messages. The next, hauna pesa na unaomba kura, mkono mtupu wa ulambwi, and I'm like, okay. And unajua ni vijana. Yeah. So naweza imagine, yani watu wenye tunategemea labda tunaweza discuss tukaelewana, let's form this government together, and the same people. Ikifika hapo ni the highest bidder. So naweza kwambia elections ni expensive, na mali kuwa expensive sana hata apart from materials na kuanga handouts.
The truth of the matter is that Kenyans don't know what they want. And these politicians running around looking for political seats are literally buying power. And that's why after winning these elections, they disappear for 5 years to nurse their injuries. They reappear when they are looking for the same seats again.
Yes.
Because if you're talking about, I'm going to build you a road, or rather what and what not, you know, it is about handout. So when I give you money, already I'm building that road in your stomach. Because people want that money.
Umekula barabara.
People, yes. Dr. Kingori, people don't want to listen to agenda. People want money. In fact, the moment you declare that you are running for a political seat, the problems of the whole constituency become your problem.
Yeah. Just running.
You solve problems of wedding, of divorce, any problem. A wife beats the husband or bites the husband's leg, you're supposed to be concerned and give out something.
Yeah.
You don't do this where you can't.
I can say I know some things hapa kule. Hawa watu wote ni team moja. You understand? You see, government operates, all these people are stakeholders in the politics of this country. The competition now is not who, and I want to say this clearly, is not who will fix this country or not fix it, is who will get power. And listen to everything they are saying. Ni nini hujaisikia? Ni nini watu wa Azimio ama watu wa Kenya Kwanza wanasema yenye haujakusikia 2017 ama hukusikia 2012 ama hata 2007 ama 2002? There is nothing different. So my prayer is that whoever gets power ashikwe na roho ya Mungu, aendeleze nchi mbele. But there is nothing. Yote ni timu moja. Raila Odinga cannot pretend that he has never been part of the government to change things. The same way with Ruto. You understand? Ruto cannot come to me now and tell me that actually when I become president, I'll do so many big things. Because you've been there. You know, hao watu unajua wanaongea ni kama wameanguka tu sahi wakaangushwa ndio wanaomba kura.
Now, as we promised you last week, our guest for this episode is one of the most learned police officers in this country. He has served in the GSU, trained in Israel on matters national security. He's a certified public accountant. He is a published author and currently serving in the office of the Deputy Inspector General as the Public Information Officer. Superintendent Jared Ojuok will be joining us on the other end of this short commercial break. You do not want to miss the good vibes. See you guys in a bit. Hey, Maze. Asante sana. Welcome back to the Wicked Edition. I'm your host, Dr. Kingori. Our guest wa leo tumemtafuta na tukaangukia. I thank the National Police Service wa kutafutia one of the most brilliant police officers. He's a former GSU officer. He's a certified public accountant. Amepelekwa mpaka Israel kwenda kusoma national security. Ameenda India kusoma investigations. He's an author. Tuko na book yake hapa kwa show. Inaitwa When the Ancient Tree Falls. Give it up for Jared Ojuok. Asante sana. Asante. Sikuwa nataka kupeleka kierere yangu kwa kusema rank ndio nisiji mix up.
Okay.
Yes.
I will say it.
You can say it, but
my name is Jared Ojuok. Yes. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this show. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much. My name is Jared Ojuok. As per my rank, I'm Superintendent of Police and Public Information Officer, Kenya Police Service.
Wazi. What is it about India that wanatufunza investigation?
Well, I could have studied the same thing even right here because we have what it takes, but there was an exchange program. This was government-to-government sponsorship, and I was a beneficiary.
I also love your book. Nimeisoma ni vile nimeipata on short notice. It's fun. Na ume-explain vitu vizuri sana hapa ndani, and it's interesting vile umeiandika mpaka as in the vivid explanation of things. As in, does that come naturally ama ni juu ya kuandika statement sana?
Partly yes, because I've told you I'm an investigator, so we have a way of looking at things.
Yes.
We are not very general, we are very specific. So when I look at something, I almost think that I will see maybe 150% more than you will see.
I know you believe in God.
I do.
And it's written, spare the rod, spoil the child.
Oh, yes.
You are a parent too. So in your days in the GSU, how did you used to measure your beatings in relations to your child? How do you deal with a child? And I'm very interested in this topic. How do you beat a child as your son and not someone in Shisha Mandi?
The question of beating a child is something that I would not encourage anyone to do because it really never works.
It's in the Bible.
I'm a church elder, my friend, and I read the Bible a lot. I would advise any parent that what works, sit the child down and talk to them. And if you were to read my book, it would say that you give instructions properly to a child. It's like engraving on stone. It never disappears. But you beat a child today, they could recover tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And in your book, in fact, one of the things that took my interest was when your main character from Mpaka Mahali Nimefika, Gode, was in his days as a warrior. The conquerings that they made, it means the application of violence is needed for peace. Before peace comes violence. So how do you write such a wonderful book and still not believe in a dose of violence?
It's not like I don't believe in a dose of violence. I believe in lawful violence.
Lawful violence.
Police carry guns. Guns are not sticks. So there's violence. But when applied lawfully, then it's okay. But if you apply it unlawfully, then it's a criminal offense.
Hey, thank you. You've put it so nicely. You can shoot lawfully and you can...
Exactly.
So
that's the truth. A lot of people think police are not Kenyans, apparently.
Like, unajua vile wa Kenya ni kichwa ngumu, right?
Yes. But we are still
unajua.
We are still Kenyans, yeah? And so, do not think that, say, where we are forced, circumstances force, maybe there's a shooting which has occurred. It's not really in our interest to do that. But some circumstances may force you to what I call lawfully, now apply the force. It's something that, in most cases, is very, very regrettable because losing a life is not something anyone can be happy about. Yes.
And
so what I want to maybe say is we need to be also more civil. The public does now, the public. When, for example, it's a riot situation and a proclamation has been read, we have even used tear gas, we have threatened you with rungu, please just go back home, because you see, you live once. And sometimes I don't think people take their lives seriously. A case where, for example, you're being tear gassed, and then you keep sitting there. I mean, what do you expect people to do?
See, it should actually be encouraging that Kenyans have a high immunity.
To tear gas?
Pigwa tear gas, you know, probably you need to restock. Actually, is that true? Is that true that tear gas, is that true? Tear gas has expiry date?
Everything which is manufactured has expiry date. Everything.
So what's the effect of expired tear gas? It becomes mild?
No, we normally dispose of them, so you wouldn't know. No? No.
Yes.
No.
So, as in, you actually, is that logical? Like throwing fresh tear gas? As in, as in, by the way, as in, what's the point? Like, you are a very learned person. Mm-hmm. What's the effect of expired tear gas? As in, what could it do compared to fresh? As in, this is good. This is, as in, it's because you check before you throw. It means it's
not before we throw. Before they leave the armory, we've checked. So the expired one will never leave the armory.
Basi, we had a former GSU officer, you may know of him, now a security consultant, George Musamali.
Oh, yes.
Mekros Barabara. He's one of our favorite people.
Oh, yes.
He told us that there are stages. There are stages to crowd control.
Oh, yes.
One, ni hiyo umesema, proclamation, tokeni hapa. Aya, step 2, ghasia hizi tokeni hapa. Step 3, last warning. And then tear gas comes. When tear gas comes, all people are treated equally. Hata mtu alikuja after announcement. and then it comes at there is application ya how the rungu supposed to operate. Places you are supposed to apply tenderness. That's the right language. The joints nini. Have you ever by mistake ulikuwa umeingia town bila uniform ukashindwa kupita riot kabla? Have you haujawahi?
The good thing is I will never be in a place where riots taking place. It's not safe for you.
So hata ujui vile hiyo rungu yenu inaonja, as in you you don't have as in the true feel on the other side. You've never been on the receiving end, probably.
I shouldn't be. I'm a law-abiding citizen.
One of the main interests to do this show, a friend of mine had someone in his employ, and then this person was mobbed because he had allegedly stolen something. So when he was taken to the police station, when he was called, akampeleka police station. Kumpeleka police station, he wasn't there when the guy was being beaten. When they took him to the police station, sasa yeye ndiye aliyekuwa ndani kwa sababu huyu jamaa anasema amevunjika mkono na yeye ndiye amemleta, yeye ndiye akona makosa. We've had several cases where people are actually even afraid to help people in an accident because utabeba mtu, you'll be detained. Unafikiria umepeleka mtu hospitali, but you'll be detained wakifikiria you are the main suspect kwanza. How do people deal with such cases?
It's because of our nature. Kenyans naturally do not want to volunteer themselves to give information. You see, when there is a criminal incident, we need more than one party. The victim themselves, they could be dead or alive, they could tell their part of the story. But we also need to corroborate their evidence. This can only happen in situations where we get hold of someone who can also speak further on this. And the problem with our people, they don't want to come. Now, when the law therefore gives us that leeway to compel. Now, compelling here may mean very many things. We could just hold you briefly, just so that you record that statement, so that we have a point from where we start. Otherwise, you release that person and you ask them to come to the police station the following day to have their statement recorded. They will never come.
So unashika ule uko nayo, a bird in the hand.
Just to interview them and get the facts from them. That fact will help us now to resolve this crime.
When it comes to the police, I personally, but I deal with my issues in private. I've never complained about the police in public. Somehow, the situation I'm in, sometimes I understand. Always there be a police wote jina juu ya mtu moja, and there's something I have seen personally. You experience a police officer who is willing to change a story on someone, right? Labda hata una makosa, but they would actually be willing to put something on you hata kama una makosa. And when ukifika mbele, umefika mbele. Once it's booked, it has been booked, right? So other people hope to get justice. Unafikiria una makosa, twende. Ama when you're at a roadblock, you are very sure hauna makosa. Then when unasema twende station, mkifika station, the story will be the gospel according to the officer, right? And
not anymore. Not anymore. Not in this present Kenya. I can tell you that for free, because
but it's still happening.
You feel that your rights have been violated. You have redress. I mean, you can even go to that court, but later on, put it down in writing. Address that letter to the IAU or the IPOA. That officer will himself now be the suspect and will be writing statements. That's the truth.
Let me give you a scenario. An ordinary Kenyan. Umekutana na polisi, unajua hauna makosa, you're totally innocent. And you decide, they insist that probably you need to go, you insist to be taken to the station. Mfike kwa station. Inamaanisha you will be held for, say, 24 hours?
24 hours maximum.
24 hours maximum, and then you are taken to court, charged with what he says. Let's say ulikuwa na shughuli yako, but you'll have to sacrifice 24 hours. How are you getting back your 24 hours?
You don't necessarily have to spend the 24 hours. You know, if you read our constitution, I think most of us now are very well versed with the constitution. They are the rights of a arrested person. You have a right to bail. And the officer, I do not know of what offense in this country today which is not bailable. If murder is bailable, what offense is this that will keep you in the police station for 24 hours? Unless maybe you did not ask for that right. You did not want to exercise it on your own accord. But once you are arrested, the officer is supposed to inform you in the language you understand the reason for the arrest. Allow you or enable you to make important calls, whether it is to the family or to your lawyer. And also inform you of your rights. You are supposed to pay a certain amount of money, and then you can go to court at your own time.
I was actually told, please confirm that you can hire police officers for your own protection, legally.
Yes.
I can come to the station, niseme nataka kuchill na makarao wangu, as in, for my own protection. How much is that?
Well, that is, I'm not going to say how much it is, because this is a discussion you hold between the local police command. Of course, this money is paid to Treasury, not to this.
Not to the officers?
No, to the Treasury.
So if I want police officers at my place, as long as I can afford it?
That's what's happening. I mean, you go to many funerals today, you find police in uniform controlling crowds and doing all that kind of stuff.
No, I'm talking about kwa boma yangu. Seme, I saw a place in Kitengela. People have built very nice houses, but they ran away wakaacha hizo manyumba. Was it Kitengela or Rongai? Wakaacha hizo manyumba, and I was like, hey, that was magic. Wakatoroka wakaacha hizo manyumba zao, and then I'm like, why can't you just go to a police station, then just pay every day? You order for 2 police officers, so every day you probably...
No, I think that is now what I was talking about. When that community comes together and discuss with the OCS, they tell him this is what we're experiencing. For example, if there are robberies, nighttime robberies, they can agree in principle and say, we need patrols intensified in this area. And the OCS will agree with them. So community policing actually is the solution, the real solution to policing. It's not a question, because if every Kenyan is going to feel so insecure that they want a policeman at their gate, we don't have those numbers. But we can have communities working together to create the arrangement to make sure that the resources are shared. I mean, if we had just one patrol car doing rounds there with 2 or 3 officers inside, and then the problem is resolved. But because there are no communities, people are not speaking in the same language, you live on your own, the next neighbor lives on their own, so you have your own problems. They could be common problems, but you don't have a common solution.
Omanyala was recently absorbed by the police because of being the fastest Kenyan, I assume, right? That's one way, akuenda kwa kiwanja. Are there other ways that people can join the police without kwenda recruitment?
Today, our laws allow for national police reserves. This is an arrangement where you volunteer your services, the way you are saying, and you serve for a period of 2 years. If there are those vacancies, that is, they are usually announced. And you work for police, you can work for those 2 years. If you feel like continuing, then you apply for another 2 years. And during that period of time, you have police powers.
You have police powers?
Yes.
Like
National Police Reserve at police.
Police reservists can arrest you. They have arresting powers.
They are police officers.
Oh, interesting. So,
I think I was addressing somebody like you now because I think you're past the age of joining police, but you can still, if there's room, you can volunteer your services. All you should know is that you will never be paid remuneration in terms of salary, but allowances, yes.
If I'm past the age of joining the police, right? I can just give services without being paid?
No, allowances, but
allowances.
Not salary. Because you are volunteering your services.
So I get paid per thief. Thank you very much, Mr. Jared Ojuok. Wapi makofi yake? Superintendent of the police. That's it for the weekend edition. See you next week. My name is Dr. Kingori.